Astanaz celebrated their 25th anniversary with the premiere of Aldar Köse, a challenge for the dancers who took on the beloved Kazakh folktale character, a clever, poor, smart and fair trickster. And portraying a satirical story on stage is generally much more difficult than, for example, a dramatic one. Especially when your tool is just body movement and facial expressions. Despite the gorgeous costumes and all-new music performed by a live symphony orchestra for the first time. And speaking of music, it was all new for the dancers that night. They were dancing to a live symphony orchestra for the first time. Naz is a complete dance theater, staging full-scale dance dramas with real stories and a range of feelings reflecting both individual emotions and the soul of a nation.
Театр қабырғасында қойылған билердің ішінде жаңағы спектакльдер қойылып бастағанда
When the theater started staging full productions, we discovered a new side of ourselves, acting. Before, we smiled and showed good manners when we danced. But in these shows, we had to become the characters, express emotions with our bodies and faces, showing everything to the audience.
бет ауызбен жұмыс жасау, сахнада халыққа көрсету бидің тілсіз.
Dance is an art without words, and expressing those emotions with my face and my movements was a new and exciting step, a whole new level of artistry in dance.
Өте қызықты, сондай бір билей салып келді деп айтсам болады.
In the Naz State Dance Theater, we've done over 200 productions and shows. I've had solo roles in many of them, including Shehrazada in One Night from 1001 Nights. That's one of my best memories. I'm proud to have been a part of practically every production the theater has done, always in leading roles. Rehearsing is one thing, but when you have a minute or two before going on stage, you get this indescribable feeling. As soon as you step out there, you get into character and just dance with your soul. It's an incredible experience.
Қойылымдарында болдым. Сахнадағы әрбір әртістің тұла бойында.
Every artist feels it on stage. The audience is watching us, applauding, standing up to show their excitement, and then they come up afterward with such kind words, telling us how wonderful it was. That's what we are all searching for when we step onto the stage. And we've been feeling that for 25 years, getting that feedback from the audience. Maybe that's why we're still here.
Осы әлі күнге дейін біз сахнаның төрінде жүрміз.
Today, as the Naz State Dance Theater opens its 25th season, it holds a special place in Kazakh choreography. It's definitely become a symbol of dance in Astana. But back in the late 20s, things were very different. Astana had just become the capital, and artists weren't exactly lining up to move to a still under construction, freezing cold new city. It took a chance meeting to change things when the head of the city's culture department ran into a former student from dance school.
Мен өзімнің университетте оқыған кафедра меңгерушісі Төлеғали Асетбекович Қашпаев деген кісі.
My department head at the university was Төлеғали Асетбек Kishkishbayev. I was here in my own business trying to support my family, doing different things. We ran into each other, hugged, said hello, and he asked, "Hey, Erkebulan, what are you doing here?" I told him I was running a small business, and he said, "Forget about that. Quit the business. The new capital needs its own professional dance company." I thought about it for a long time, talked to Kadisha.
жаңа кәсіби би ансамбль керек деді. Сосын ары ойлап, бері ойлап, Хадишаға айтам. Қысқасы ойлап жүргенде ол кісі тағы да звондады да шақырып алды кабинетіне. Шақырып алып, менің көзімше.
Soon after, he called me again, brought me to his office, and started calling all the famous choreographers in Almaty at the time. None of them agreed to come. Then he said, "Their time has passed. This is your place. I'm calling you specifically. You're young. I always remember the enthusiasm and imagination you had when you choreographed dances. Come and start this thing." After a lot of thought, we started with 2 dancers. I came first, then Kadisha arrived with 2 kids and 2 suitcases, just like in a movie. We started in January in the freezing cold.
Кинодан сөйтіп келдік, кинодағыдай болып келдік. Қыс қақап тұр, қаңтар айында бастадық.
Despite the difficulties, we took on this important task with a great sense of responsibility. For 25 years, we've been working, never losing our pride in our national dance heritage. Since we started, we've always tried to promote national dances. Back in 1999, when the Agimbayevs were just starting to build the Nance Dance Company, they made a point of finding young, fresh talent, putting out the call not just across Kazakhstan, but even in neighboring countries.
Диплом алып, енді қайда барам, қайда жұмыс жасайым деп.
After graduating, I was wondering what to do, where to work. And that's when Erkebulan Agimbayev came to our city, Oral. He was holding auditions, choosing dances. He basically took us by the hand from our small town and brought us to Astana. He told us, "You are going to see the big stage, you are going to see the world, you are going to see other countries. The future of Kazakhstan, including its art, especially dance, needs to grow. And you are that future." That's what he told us. Our parents gave us their blessing and we came to Astana. The time just flew by. Those were event-filled, really fun years. Our theater company always had a special atmosphere. We saw new places, new stages, new countries, choreographers. We got great education from Adisha and Erkebulan, and we discovered new sides of our art. There were so many shows and productions. We really tried to show everything we could do. I'm so grateful that fate led me to the Nance Dance Theater.
Өте сондай ризамын осы тағдырдың осы наз би ұжымына алып келгеніне.
In their first year, the Agimbayevs managed to get the number of dancers up to 20. Then they had another dream, to grow from putting on nice but ordinary dance numbers to creating thoughtful, meaningful dance performances and impressive shows. In 2005, the Nance Theater premiered Tuyğundar, an ambitious attempt to tell a story not through separate dances, but to create a completely interwoven, large-scale dance narrative about the history of Kazakhstan. The attempt was a success. The show was a sensation and was very warmly received by both audiences and critics.
Ең жүрегіме жақын қойылым бұл.
The show that is closest to my heart is Tuyğundar. It was our first full production at the theater, telling about the past, about the history of centuries gone by. It was a very deep show that required a massive production. We performed it on big stages. We performed it not only in Kazakhstan, but also abroad. From the beginning, Erkebulan and Khadisha Agimbayevs decided that Kazakh national dance traditions would be the foundation of the Nance Theater's choreography. Over time, that approach expanded and grew. Elements of modern dance were woven seamlessly into the classical folk motifs, taking into account all the innovative processes in choreographic art. While always keeping Kazakh national elements as the core, the choreographers and directors of the Naz theater always consider and try to show the ethnic diversity of Kazakh culture. The result is multi-layered and beautiful choreographic works. And that's how, through the mesmerizing power of dance, the talented artists of Naz have been celebrating our culture both within the country and far beyond its borders.
Тарихи спектакльдерді, тарихи салт дәстүрімізге, мәдениет.
Historical plays, as well as plays like One Night from 1001 Nights, enjoy enormous success. And we just premiered Aldar Kose. Tickets have been sold out in a month. People are calling, asking where they can get tickets. We've always been well received overseas too. I used to think they might not get us in Europe, but that's not true at all. We spent 40 days touring in Europe last summer. France, Spain, Switzerland sold out houses everywhere. They really appreciate our national culture, the costumes, the music, the choreography that tells our story and shows our traditions. They're even fascinated by our costumes.
Керемет қатты қарсы алды. Олар да қайта біздің классикалық өнер емес, біздің ұлттық өнерді қатты жақсы қабылдайды, керемет қабылдайды.
In the future, only art will be able to unite and make the world beautiful. May the world be without wars, only with peace and with art. May the art of every country flourish.
Айтып тұрасыздар, қалындай керемет деп нетіп бір. Біздің ана қыздардың киіміне дейін, шолпысына дейін бәрін қарайды барғанда.
Біздің Наз театрынан барлығында.
At the Naz theater, you can see everything: heroism, beauty, national costumes, gorgeous music.
Көруге болады. Тамаша халықтың қазақтың музыкасын да көруге болады. Ұлттық.
Last summer, we toured Europe with the Qorqut ensemble, and their admiration for our culture was immense.
Европаның барлық мемлекеттерін аралады.
Tulkun Sultan is the author of the first complete book about the Naz dance theater, released in Astana in late 2024. According to Tulkun, the theater's contribution to Kazakh national choreography deserves careful study. The book describes the entire history of the theater, its creation, development, and all its achievements. Through interviews with the founders and everyone who has been a part of the theater over the years, the book provides an analysis of the work of Naz, also including reflections on the art of dance in Kazakhstan in general.
Naz мемлекеттік би театры 25 жылдыққа белес деген бұл кітап.
The book, Bilis, is dedicated to the 25th anniversary of the Naz State Dance Theater.
Алдар көсе спектаклі, осы алдар көсе спектакліне дейінгі аралықты қамтиды. Бұл жерде театрдың алғашқы.
It covers the theater's journey from its founding to the premiere of Aldar Kose, including information about the theater's first productions, as well as the period when the theater received state status in 2007. The book isn't just for dance experts, it's for everyone.
Би қимылдарының әрқайсының мазмұнына, мағынасына терең үңілуге болады. Өйткені кейбір кісілер биде жай әдемі бір сюжет.
It helps you understand the history of Kazakh dance, the depth and meaning of every movement.
Сол осы кітапты оқи отырып, қазақ биінің тарихын біле алады деп ойлаймын.
The Naz State Dance Theater of the Astana Mayor Office has come a long way creatively and administratively, growing from 2 dancers to a highly professional team of nearly 50 artists. From a small room in the basement of the capital's Philharmonic Hall, the theater has long since moved to its own building with a large performance hall and comfortable rehearsal spaces, as well as all the other necessary facilities. The theater's tours have long covered most of the world, and its creative energy and plans for the future continue to grow, along with the love of the audience. Perhaps that's because from the very beginning, everything in this theater was built solely on enthusiasm and genuine love for what they do, for His Majesty dance.